Good afternoon and welcome to the BBC News at 1. Bob Crow, one of Britain's best-known union leaders, has died suddenly at the age of 52. He had been General Secretary of the Rail, Maritime and Transport Union since 2002 and was involved in a number of high-profile industrial disputes, including the recent strike by London Underground workers. Tributes to him have been pouring in from both sides of the political spectrum, as our industry correspondent John Moylan reports.
All we want is the opportunity to come express a point of view on behalf of the tube workers.
This was Bob Crow just last month. At the height of the strike on London's tube, he hijacked a radio phone-in to take on his opponent, Boris Johnson.
There is a table to be sat round by you and your team.
But we can't do it while you put a gun to our head.
The two men hadn't spoken in years. Today, London's mayor led tributes to one of the country's best-known trade union leaders.
Obviously, I didn't always agree with what he had to say, but I really will say this. I think that together with other union members, Bob Crow unquestionably helped to drive forward huge progress on London Underground, and he leaves a massive legacy behind.
Bob Crow was born in East London, but he spent his working life in the rail industry, often on the picket line. He described himself as a communist socialist, and as leader of the RMT, he was instrumental in ending the union's affiliation to the Labour Party.
Bob Crow!
Regarded as an effective and pragmatic union boss, for years he campaigned against the privatisation of the rail industry.
What the government really should be doing is saying to these train operating companies, give back some of the massive profits that they've been given over the last 7 years and give some of that back to the workers that work in the industry.
News of his death came in this short statement from his union. It is with the deepest regret that RMT has to confirm that our General Secretary Bob Crow sadly passed away in the early hours of this morning.
Even his enemies, the people who never agreed with him when he was alive, I mean, Bob would be laughing his head off probably that, you know, that suddenly they're all finding these great words about him. The truth is, everybody knows that he was incredibly good at the job he was employed to do. He believed in fighting for working people, he was passionate about it.
All right, lads, we're going to win this.
Today there were tributes to Mr Crow from across the political spectrum. The Labour leader, Ed Miliband, said that while he didn't always agree with him politically, he always respected his tireless commitment to fighting for the men and women in his union. Others recalled that even many Londoners who suffered from strikes at his hands respected his passion and dedication to the union cause.
When Bob would go around the streets or you'd see him on trains, people actually gave him a warm reception. They liked the fact that he stood up, said what he thought in an era of political band, and they recognised, even when they were inconvenienced by a strike, that he'd actually done rather well for his members. And a lot of people at work were thinking, well, why isn't somebody standing up for me?
Bob Crow was just 52. He'll be remembered for his hardline brand of trade unionism, which often led to pay deals that were the envy of other workers. John Moylan, BBC News.
Well, let's talk to our chief political correspondent Norman Smith in Westminster. Just 52 years old, the news has come as a big shock, but it is notable just how many tributes have been pouring in from all sides.
Well, Sophie, Bob Crow was arguably Britain's most successful modern-day union leader, and in many ways he was unique, because at a time when trade union influence is waning, when they're losing members, when their leaders are relative unknowns, Bob Crow bucked every single one of those trends. He was a household name, probably better known than half the cabinet. Everyone knew Bob Crow with this sort of flat cap, East End, Millwall supporting bluff demeanour, and he was hugely successful. He nearly doubled the membership of his union. He repeatedly won better deals in terms of pay and conditions for his members, and uniquely too, he was an unashamed socialist at a time when, you know, trade unions by and large have become more managerial and professional and consensual. Bob Crow described himself as a communist socialist. He was prepared to fight, as he saw it, for working people. No coincidence, his grandfather was the famous East End boxer Punch Crow, and he was a political pugilist. But, you know, it would be a mistake to view him either, as his critics do, as some sort of pantomime villain, or as his supporters do, as some sort of latter-day working class hero. He was actually an incredibly wily, astute, flexible, media-savvy operator. He was a deal maker, and that, above all, probably explains why he was such a successful trade union leader.
Norman, thank you. Two men who boarded